Hello everyone and welcome to chapter Rational Number. To begin with this chapter, let us first of all see what all topics we are going to cover under this rational number. So let's see, we'll begin with the introduction. Of course, we'll start with some properties of the rational number, which will include the closure property, then we have commutative property, then associative property, also in associative property, and then we'll deal with role of 0, then role of 1 in this, and then what do you understand by reciprocal of a number. Also we'll read about distributive property in this case. Then representation of the rational number on a number line. Then we'll deal number between the two rational numbers. So now let us begin with the chapter. First of all, you must be knowing how an equation can be solved. To begin with this chapter, we need to first of all recall what we have already done. So see, we have already done, if this type of equation is given to you that x plus 2 is 5, then how will you solve? You can do it by separating variable method, and you can do by the method of transposing. But transposing is better in this case. So in this we shift first 2 on the another side and we get x is equals to 5 minus 2. And so you get the value as x is equal to 3. Now 3 is a natural number. If we have another equation like x plus 7 is equal to 7, so we notice one thing here, if I shift 7 on the another side, I'll get x is 7 minus 7, which is equal to 0. And is 0 a natural number? No, 0 is a whole number. Let us see the third type of equation. If we have x plus 8 is equal to 3, then we have that x is equal to 3 minus 8, and the value that we get is minus 5, which is then a integer. So while we solve an equation, we can get either a natural number or a whole number or an integer or anything else also. Let us see. Suppose that if we have an equation like x plus 1 upon 2 equals 6 upon 2. Now we have to separate the variable, so we need to shift 1 upon 2 on the another side. And so x will be equals to 6 upon 2 minus 1 upon 2. And you are very well familiar with it, that if two fractions are added or subtracted, we have to first take their LCM and then simplify it. Now here we get that 6 minus 1 upon 2, because here they both are having the same denominator 2. So we can write it as simply the subtraction of the, or the difference of the numerators. So 6 minus 1 upon 2, and directly you will get the value as 5 by 2. And now 5 by 2 is a fraction. Also, let's see, if we have x plus 6 by 2 is 1 by 2, then how we can begin with this? So we'll shift 6 by 2 on the another side, and what we get is this part, 1 by 2 minus 6 by 2, and then you'll have 1 minus 6, that is minus 5 upon 2. And remember, minus 5 upon 2, now it is not a fraction, rather it is a rational number. So here you need to know first the basic difference between a fraction and a rational number. Remember, as we have learned in our junior classes, that a fraction is a part of a whole, right? So one thing is very important to note here, that fractions are always positive. They will always be greater than 0. They can never be negative. Whereas a rational number may be positive, it may be negative also. So here we can say that all the fractions are rational numbers, but on the other hand, all the rational numbers are not the fractions. For example, if we take this example only, then 5 by 2 is a fraction, but 5 by 2 is also a rational number, whereas minus 5 by 2 is a rational number, but it is not a fraction, because a fraction can never be negative, and 5 by 2 here is negative. So basic difference between a fraction and rational number is clear. Now let's proceed to the next thing. So how we can basically define a rational number? So what is a rational number? Very simple definition is, if a number can be expressed in the form of a upon b is a rational number where a and b are integers and the denominator b is not equal to 0. So when I say a and b are integers, that means positive as well as negative numbers are included in that. So a, that means the numerator, and b, that means the denominator. It may be positive, it may be negative, and even a can be 0, but b can never be equals to 0. We may have numerator 0, but the denominator in any case can never be equal to 0. So we can have a look at some examples. You can see 5 upon 7. Now here when we see 5 and 7, they both are integers. Similarly, minus 2 and 5, they both are integers. Minus 2 upon 9, they both are also integers. So we can say here that a and b both need to be integer for a upon b to be a rational number. Now, what if in the denominator there is 0? For example, 3 upon 0, this will not be a rational number, because of course we cannot divide 3 by 0, which is not possible. So anything with the denominator as 0 is not defined or not possible in this case. Now let us have a look at this, that if the numerator and denominator of any rational number is positive, both are positive, that means the overall sign of the rational number will be positive. And if they both are negative, then also the overall sign of the rational number will be positive. So in all we can say if they are of same sign, then it is positive. For example, 5 upon 7, they both are positive. 5 and 7 are both positive. No sign means plus sign. So 5 and 7 both being positive here. So overall 5 upon 7 is a positive rational number. Similarly, minus 5 upon minus 7. So you know when a minus sign is divided by a minus sign, then we have a positive sign. So we can say minus 5 divided by minus 7 is also a positive rational number. On the other hand, if minus 5 is divided by 7 or if 5 is divided by minus 7, that means if any one of a or b, that means numerator or denominator, if any one is negative, the overall sign of the rational number will be negative in this case. So we come to a conclusion here that if they are of same sign, the overall sign is positive, and they are of opposite sign, then the overall sign will be negative. For example, numerator is positive and the denominator is negative. If the numerator is negative, denominator positive, both the cases, the overall sign will be negative. If they both are of same sign, the overall sign of the rational number will be positive.